Hi guys, it's Hazel here. So today I'm going to talk about 10 part-time jobs that I have taken part of back at uni. So around when I was 18 all the way to when I was 22. So I'm going to divide them into groups. It goes from little to no experience to some sort of experience, then certified experience. So the first category would be little to no experience. And I've actually done a few very niche jobs out there, and I also moved country, so it's really, I would say, country specific in terms of the jobs I've done. So back at my hometown, I've done like a seasonal apparel store attendant job. So I did some, for example, some packaging and also just packing the clothes into the shopping bags at like a fashion brand at an outlet back in my hometown during Christmas. So I was working there for like 2 weeks straight because they had like a little private sale and also like a Christmas sale. It was pretty fun but very exhausting because it was like 10 hours straight, and you have like a 30-minute break in between. But it was really fun because I have always dreamt of working at like a little fashion boutique store, so it actually fulfilled my little childhood dream, and I was like, I'm not going back because it is very tiring and sometimes a little bit boring to be standing all the time. So I really admire people who do that full-time or just anything like part-time, full-time, period. Second job that I didn't really need any experience was a mystery shopper job when I moved overseas, and I actually got introduced by my friend bringing it into this field because it's actually going to different restaurants or alcohol stores as well. It's usually hired by the actual stores and restaurants externally to check on the employees to see whether they're doing the job. So for example, if you're going to an alcohol store, they'll ask you to buy like wine or something at like a budget of, for example, $15 per se, and then they would have to check whether the employees checked my ID because I was around 21 at the time. And obviously here where I was overseas, it's allowed legally to drink, but I don't look over 25, so they have to check regardless. So something like that, and that was actually a really fun job. Although you don't actually get a lot per job, but it's still good to have like free food or free drinks while having like, I would say, 15 up to $25 of commission from time to time, and I'm saying this in like Australian dollar currency. It is a very casual job as well, so it really took off some of my grocery, like little miscellaneous expenses type of load of my daily life while I don't have to cook as much if I have to go to restaurants. And the third and the fourth job, they're actually quite similar. The third one is being like a clinical or university study participant. They usually give you some sort of, for example, gift cards or even commission, for example, I don't know, whatever money that they give you, and depending on what kind of study that you have to do. I have done like a 2-day one, and also I've tried for a clinical study, but I didn't go through with it, but they still give you some sort of commission for screening for it as well. And these are usually really good when you're on like school holidays and such, when you have tons of time on your hands and you don't know what to do. It's really good to go for those little studies, and they usually give you quite a fair bit of commission compared to the mystery shopper job that I had. The fourth job is an online survey taker where you just go on a little survey website. There's actually a lot of them. The one that I used back at uni was Octopus, I think. It's called Octopus Surveys or something. And then you just take a look at what surveys that they sent you, and then it usually takes around 5 minutes all the way to like even 45 minutes, depending on how much money you get from this like little studies or little surveys, and they just pay you every, I would say, $25-$30 that you make. Yeah, it's not a lot as well, but it's also really fun to do if you don't have much to do rather than doom scrolling. It's just a good way to spend your time also having some spare change. The fifth job is a little bit niche. It was like a train station surveyor where I had to go to different train stations at the time to talk to different customers or just like different bystanders at the time to talk about a new system that the train station is carrying out and have they used it, what do they feel about the new service, etc, etc. Actually, that was one of my favorite part-time jobs that I had because I actually got to know a lot of different kinds of people all over the world, also from different age groups as well, because you usually get allocated at a train station with a partner or two, and they usually come from different countries, or again, some of them are moms or some of them are travel nomads. It's just very fun to also chat with people, and they also have different types of shifts, like early morning shifts and also afternoon shifts, and it's really interesting to just talk to different people on the train station platforms. And it's really interesting what kind of things you actually see on train station platforms as well. A lot of people watching, so I really like that job, but I don't think necessarily it's easy to look for jobs like this because I also knew it from a friend through a friend as well, but it was actually one of my best experiences working part-time jobs. The next part would be a job that requires some sort of experience for a lot of stores, but for my experience, luckily I did not have to have any experience, which comes with a lot of privilege because it was because my friend knows the owner. So I was a boba tea barista for around 3 months back at uni as well. It was right before I had to focus on uni fully, so I was working those casual shifts like 4 or 5 days a week. I would say up to 6 hours a day, and because the shop was still opening and they got some like promotions happening, like a buy one get one free type of promotion, and it was so chaotic because everyone's new there, but the queue was extremely long. Everyone was still learning the menus and stuff like that, even though we did do training, but it was just chaotic. But it was just really fun because I used to love boba tea when I was at high school, so usually we're allowed to also mix our own drinks from time to time, so it's just good. I feel like a proper barista. It was really fun, and you can use the shaker for some of the drinks as well, but it's also pretty tiring. Any type of hospitality job is tiring, so again, really admire people who do that. amazing people, honestly, a lot of patience. And for my sixth job, it's gonna start with some sort of certified experience. The first one is a support worker. I think this is a little bit niche in Australia, but I'm pretty sure there are other names in other countries as well. So what we do is usually you're working as full-time, or it can be casual part-time depending on what company you're working for. At that time I was working casually, so sometimes you see participants. For Australia, it's called NDIS participants, or sometimes you just see them privately to see adult clients, elderly clients, or kids with special needs or any sort of needs they need from daily life. At the time, I was working with a kiddo, so I was helping with, for example, feeding, just spending time with them at that time, or helping with showering, stuff like that, just taking care of all the self-care stuff as well. This was also a really tiring job too, but I wouldn't trade this experience with anything else. The family was really nice and patient with me, even when I was getting burnt out by the end of it. So I worked there for around 8 to 9 months until I almost graduated as well. The second job that I had, which also needs some sort of certification, is a healthcare assistant because of my field right now. So I was just following a healthcare worker and just carry out the sessions according to them. Really nice environment. Everyone was nothing but nice. It was really good for me to just build some experience, but again, comes with experience and certification. You have to study a certain degree as well, and I feel really grateful for that. So the third one is online private English tutor. I actually started working as a face-to-face one at first back in my hometown, and this is actually my longest job. I worked as an English tutor for around 3 years, and I actually had clients up to 3 years as well. And it was very fun because I got to meet, again, different families and kiddos. I usually teach kiddos, and I also teach adults as well because we have different sorts of like English exams for immigration. So I also did some English exam prep with some working adults as well. This actually pays, I think, the most, and it ranges from how you commission your families as well, but this actually pays the most throughout my uni life as well. So the last job that I had that is pretty niche is being a music teacher. Specifically, I was a cello teacher for some kids at a music company, and I was also a private music teacher for some kids back in my hometown as well, because I have played cello ever since I was little, which again is a huge privilege, and I love playing cello. I haven't played cello for a while now, but back when I was in my hometown, I first graduated high school, that's the one thing that I was okay at, so I started to teach some kids. It was really fun, very rewarding. I remember one of my kids got third place at a competition, and I felt really happy and fulfilled at the time. So yeah, that's it. But I would say for all of the jobs that I had, honestly, I never really had any really bad experiences, which comes with, again, a lot of privilege and a lot of luck, and I know not a lot of people do have that, so I'm honestly really grateful, and I have really good learning experiences from them as well. So yeah, these are my 10 part-time job experiences. I also wonder what kind of jobs you have taken. I've had this chat with my friends before. They also have really interesting part-time jobs back when they were studying at unis, but let me know what is the most interesting job that you've done. Yeah, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, and night.